Well, Zach, thanks for, I guess, letting me join you or you joining me tonight. It's a little co-host of Liberty special, and I, I just want to say that I'm thankful for this scrappy little upstart podcast that we started just a little over a year ago. Thankful for this half of an apple pie that I just finished prior to the podcast, and all of our Thanksgiving Day leftovers, and thankful for 2018 football seasons. May they be better than this one.
What am I thankful for? Thankful. Oh, right now is really just the grind and the struggle for me. Like I'm thankful that I can grind and struggle. I'm thankful for the Libertarian Party of Nebraska giving me something to strive for. I'm thankful for Senator Ebke for giving me, a cause to fight for. I'm thankful for the Roads to Freedom Foundation for having a lot of faith in me to push me to the next level in this political thing. And I'm thankful for a fiance who puts up with me doing all of these podcasts. And yeah.
Roads to Liberty presents a little something new. It's the co-hosts of Liberty, featuring Zach Taylor and Mike Kniebel.
So how's it going, everyone? This is the co-hosts of Liberty because it's the holiday weekend and Ben is probably busy doing all of the things, and Nathan is in deep mourning right now.
Nathan's sleeping. That's the only way he's getting through, and I'm pretty sure Ben is in his bunker in an undisclosed location at the moment. So
I need a bunker. The house that we're looking at has this next best thing though. It has a 2-person hot tub built. That is the tub in the master bedroom.
Well, hey, that's the dream, isn't it?
And it's in, so it's Sarpy County.
Ooh, it's closer to Nathan and I. That would be perfect. Of course, I'll let you in on a little secret, man. You moved to Sarpy or anywhere close to where I live. I'm basically across the street from Offutt. A bunker's not going to do you any good, okay? If something gets this far inward, just go out and watch the show for the second or two that you'll be able to watch it.
So, I mean, like, missiles are my thing. I would be interested to know what kind of missiles Offutt has, because I'm sure they have anti-air missiles somewhere there. They're not going to be Patriots, but I'm sure they got something.
Don't know exactly what they have or don't have. I think Ben and I actually talked about this a while back on one of our podcasts, because he's out there where like our big Minuteman missiles are. There's a whole bunch of silos and locations out by him and in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska.
Yeah.
I don't know why we got started talking about missiles, but hey, I guess
I am always down to talk about missiles. It's my geeky thing.
Well, I'm a little rusty here on the podcast game. Ben had a great interview just as last week talking about guns in church, and I know like you and Nathan have been keeping busy with a lot of stuff, but I've been out of the loop for a little bit. So I mean, a couple things that I kind of wanted to talk about and see if they sound good to you, like occupational licensing. I know Laura's been trying to put through a bill, and we could discuss that. And of course, a lot of the misinformation going around about what is it, net neutrality? For some reason has found life again.
Well, which one we want to dive into first?
I kind of want to jump into this net neutrality stuff. You're a fellow nerd, right? Or geek. Which one do you prefer?
I've always said that geeks make money doing nerdy things, and maybe that's not the correct definition, but that's how I look at it. So I'm more of a nerd.
So as a fellow nerd at the moment, because I too am looking to be paid for my nerdy ways. What's your impression of why this whole net neutrality thing's kind of coming back up again?
So the reason is because the FCC is coming out and saying that they're going to drop net neutrality and reschedule the internet back to how it was. And I can't remember if it was I don't remember the exact classifications. I'd have to pull it up, but basically, the internet falls under the FCC, the Federal Communications, whatever, and it would revert back to whoever had it before, and it's basically it would go back to, they wouldn't be able to regulate the internet carriers like they do now. So the fear is that if that happens, then the carriers are going to start saying, well, if you want Netflix, you need to pay us an extra $15 and this, that, and the other. And I don't think that's realistic at all.
Yeah, so essentially for the last 2 years, roughly, Federal Communications Commission has had jurisdiction over this. And I don't know. I guess there's so many people out there right now that are thinking like this internet's going to turn into this Wild West, pay for every single little bit of information that you want, and that, nothing's going to be like it was. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be just like it was in 2014. I'm not seeing the big deal here.
2014 was before Google. So here's the thing. Here's what people don't understand is they think they're standing up to a corporation. And in a way they are, but understand that you are putting corporations against corporations. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who are not good actors on the internet, like Google and YouTube, who have been buttholes lately about content.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that we could probably caveat into, and I could spend an hour talking about that craziness.
Well, them and Facebook and Twitter, too. I mean, Twitter with their blue check marks.
Those are the people who are saying, well, we need net neutrality. They want the government to control the internet because they have the most money to give to the government to get what they want. And if there is a really good startup internet company out there that finds a way to go to a customer and say, hey, you want this for streaming and social media, you're not using the internet for all these other things, we'll increase your streaming speed and keep you on social media, but we're not going to give you a really fast browser because you don't particularly use it. And you can spend $35 for that instead of the $60 that you spend for everything. And the things that you do will be a little bit faster, and the things that you don't do will be a little bit slower.
Well,
that sounds good.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's worried. They're like, well, they could throttle some of our speeds, and help it benefit some of these other areas like Netflix, who, uses, what is it, 35-40% of the bandwidth at any given time in this country is because of Netflix. So I'm sorry, I kind of hope Netflix actually has, that faster route.
I asked one of my friends today about this because he was talking about we need to save net neutrality and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so let me ask you a question. If you could pay $5 a month more to get a fast lane into Netflix so that you didn't have the stutters, you didn't have the buffering, and then, we're both wrestling fans too. So it's and the WWE network runs a little bit faster and doesn't cut out on Sunday when everyone is on the internet and slowing down my dang pay-per-views. Curse you all. I just want to see Roman Reigns spear someone through a table. Is that too much to ask? I'm like,
See,
would you pay for that? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's the most likely scenario. It's not going to be pay $15 or we're going to take away your Netflix. That's not how things work in the market.
No, exactly. People are just the biggest proponents of net neutrality that I've been talking with, as far as some of my friends. They're not as big of nerds, I guess I could say. Either that, or
it seems like a normie thing.
Kind of, but it seems kind of like, look, I get the idea of fairness, because my kids are really big on what's fair, since they're so close in age. So if one doesn't have like the exact same amount of noodles on their plate as the other one, that's not fair. So we've had that kind of discussion recently. But yeah, it's this whole idea of, well, not everyone's going to have the same speeds. Not everyone's going to have the same access to this, because they won't want to pay that extra amount. Like, okay, you're right. They won't want to pay that extra amount. That's fine. I get that. Some people don't want to use, toll roads either. Personally, if I'm going anywhere, I enjoy the toll road, because if I throw a couple extra bucks at something, I'm going to get a smoother road, and I'm going to be able to go faster, because there's going to be a hell of a lot less people in front of me.
You've never taken the toll roads down to Oklahoma City, have you? Those roads are garbage.
No, man, I took the toll roads to Kansas. That state.
And you thought those were good roads?
When I took them?
Man, we have vastly different expectations for toll roads than
Look, man, I grew up in Lincoln, all right? And anybody that's listening,
look, in Lincoln. Fremont, we have brick streets still. Up around where my parents used to live, and like the Linden to Military to Linden, Summers to Broad Street. There's streets in there that are brick. And they're like, it's historical. It's stupid.
No, it is historical. I mean, you got some of those old town areas where it's like brick roads. This is what they used to do in 1909. This is horrible. But it's got character. It's a lot of character with those roads too.
It's lazy. They don't want to repave the roads.
My roads.
I think I just lost all my libertarian cred by advocating for a road.
No, that Ben was well before you with that one. Look, we all want roads. We just don't need the government to provide them. All right. Yeah. We're perfectly capable of paying the third party to build them.
I will go chip in $20 to have someone go lay a nice road between 9th Street and H in Fremont. We will do that.
So I'm kind of torn though, because there's a lot of these companies are wanting to support the FCC and these net neutrality laws, and there are also a group of telecoms that are working to do away with net neutrality.
And let's be fair, those telecoms companies are the worst companies in America, objectively.
Well, and I mean, I have Verizon, and yes, it is. It's horrible, but what am I going to do? Go to Sprint?
To me, Verizon is the city on a hill. I have Sprint. So I went from Verizon to U.S. Cellular because I wanted to be on the same plan with my fiance. And U.S. Cellular,
like voting third party.
What?
That's like voting third party in a presidential election. Why would you do that?
U.S. Cellular's their customer service is god awful. Sprint's coverage is terrible. I can't wait to have Verizon back. Verizon, I miss you. Come back to me.
You can always come back. It just costs you what, like $1,000 to exit out of your plan from Sprint?
My contract's up in February.
Woo.
I'm not even getting new phones. You know what? My S7 does everything I need it to.
Why bother? All they're doing is changing where the ports are on the phone, so you don't need to upgrade. What do you know about this 5G? Because a couple people in the know that have been saying, yeah, we don't need net neutrality. They're like, just wait till we get 5G everywhere in the next year or two. They're like, you would need a whole new set of rules for that anyway.
So the frustrating part to me is like all these blockchain experts. So the people who are all about deregulation are like, we need net neutrality. It's like your whole setup is based on keeping the government out of things. What are you smoking? You're going to build the internet anew within the next 3 years. Why are you? And maybe that's the point. They're like, just leave things the way they are for a couple of years and we'll fix it. But they're not saying that.
Right.
I've been really trying to understand blockchain lately because cryptocurrency, like, quick plug on the Roads to Freedom Foundation Unconvention page, I'm going to be interviewing Michael. Help me out. Is it Heiss?
Oh,
from
you
the
are?
Mises
Okay,
Pocket?
good.
So that's just me interviewing him, and what that's going to do is he is going to explain it like I'm 5. He's going to walk me through how to buy Nexus coin. Because I've tried to buy a Bitcoin in the past, and I just cannot figure out what the heck I'm doing. So he's going to help me with that, and then we're going to have Connor. Let me find this. I have his name.
While you look for that, I'm going to enjoy some leftover pie, courtesy of Thanksgiving.
Connor Dragotis from the Better Money Pack. We're going to have him on the it's going to record the 30th and then be out probably the 2nd. And he's going to explain the politics of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Bitcoin. I like Ethereum. I think there's dozens of other cryptocurrencies out there that, much like, and this is where I'm going to get into a little bit of my finance background here, much like marijuana stocks and things like that, there's nothing behind them,
right?
As far as
that's absolutely true.
It's all that kind of junk stuff that you read about on those sketchy investor websites. It's like, hey, make a quick buck here. The price is going to go up a whole bunch before it drops to 0.
And so I was watching a video done by the Nexus coin people about that, and they said that that's what they're trying to do is build a blockchain. Things that I don't understand.
See, and I'll listen to when you talk to them, but I'll be honest, I've been so jaded about my years and years of the latest trends and the latest ways to just try and screw over people, using different areas of finance.
So legitimately, just go on that website and they have a YouTube video where he explains Nexus. Because I'm not talking to him. I would love to. Maybe when we're bigger, I can do that. I'm talking to Michael about how to buy this.
Oh, okay.
Just how to have a coin wallet and all that, because I don't understand that.
Sure. Okay, that makes.
And then I'm talking to Connor about like the political implications, because like I have a better understanding of the political implications of cryptocurrency, but he's on another level on that. He's really tracking that kind of stuff.
Wow. You and I tend to bunny trail on a lot of things.
So welcome to the quasi Joe Rogan podcast, where we're going to start out on a topic and not end up anywhere near there.
Well, except unlike Rogan, we'll let the other person finish the story. I like listening to Rogan, man, but like, dude, you got Dan Carlin on your show. He's an interesting guy. Just let him talk, please.
So I don't know if you ever saw the marijuana discussion between him and Crowder. Oh, that was a train wreck. They got drunk and tried. It wasn't even a debate of marijuana. It was Joe Rogan's like, well, what's one stand that you've taken in the past that you don't really hold to anymore? And he's like, and Crowder's like, I the weed thing, I'm not a big fan of it. I think there's a lot of lies about it, but if you want to do that, that's on you, blah, blah, blah. And then Rogan goes in hard on him, and it's like, Joe, he's backing off. Let him limp away. But he goes in so hard that Crowder's like, oh, well, it's game on now. So it's like this half hour of these two guys that aren't that far apart in an argument. And it's just like, stop. This is painful.
So like when a minarchist and an anarchist have a debate about porn.
I would refuse to. So at the unconvention, we're trying to have a minarchist versus anarchist debate. I'm just like, I will not be in that room. I just have zero time in my life for that. And I know other people enjoy that debate, and more power to you. That is such a waste of time to me. We are so far away from that. I just don't care.
Yeah, I used to like those type of philosophical arguments, but I've just been kind of annoyed by them over the last couple of years.
The philosophy is cool if there was ever people doing something about it, but it feels like, especially on the internet, you got a bunch of people arguing the merits of their idea and then not doing anything to bring them about.
Well, and
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the one thing that I will always tell an anarchist is I'm like, look, internally, I probably am 95%, 96% where you're at. I go, look at this map. There's roughly 192 other countries out there. America could be entirely anarchist, like you want it to be, but we're going to still have to worry about national defense. We're still going to have to worry about, trade with other countries. They're only going to respond to, federal governments in certain aspects. So look, unless you get the entire globe to buy into some of these things, I think the most that we're going to get to is a minarchist.
This is not a sock account. Tommy Garrett just liked the Libertarian Party of Nebraska page.
Oh, I was like, did I just offend you?
No, it's just like, this is kind of blows my mind a little bit. Isn't he the one that got that your homegirl took his seat? Isn't that him?
Man, seriously, anarchist versus minarchist, and now you want to bring up that aspect? No. This is supposed to be a nice, leisurely post-Thanksgiving chat. I am full on love and food right now. I don't want to bring that kind of voodoo into my world here this week, all right?
So we need to start that meme page. You know the one I'm talking about.
No, I know. I think JJ already is well on his way for that one.
So the anarchist versus minarchist thing. It's just when those guys will come off the internet and do things to progress those ideas, I'll take their debates more seriously.
Yeah.
Until then, I just don't have time. Give me the pragmatists who are actually working on it. And I'm not a pragmatist. Or I mean, I am in my approach, but I'm a radical. Like, what's the? I'm a pragmatist in the streets and a radical in the sheets, as they say.
That's an actual saying in the libertarian world.
It is now.
Somebody needs to make that shirt quickly.
Be sure that it says LPNE because this is my idea.
Yes. Okay. We'll get some of the money from that. But to loop it all
back
so
around, realistically, we do need to sell that shirt. We need to talk to Amy and get a design for that.
Let's do it. Let's get that up and running there. I think that would be a great shirt for Jared too.
Yes. Wait, we're talking the Jared with luxurious hair, right?
Either of them, any Jared, all Jareds, except the one from Subway. We don't like that one.
No, freak.
Any of the other ones are good. But to bring it back around, that is why net neutrality won't work.
Did we even explain why it wouldn't work?
I was hoping we'd edit that in.
Okay.
But no, it
you were asking me to work miracles in post-production, sir.
It won't work because we're looking for the government to solve a problem that doesn't exist yet. And if it does exist, you can always do something, but let's not set up something for government to have control off the
Here's-
bat.
If it exists, it's because government has created monopolies in the market,
Yeah.
which is what government does.
Yep.
So if you don't think that the free market can fix the problem, you might be right, but it's not because the free market doesn't have an answer. It's because government won't get out of the way.
Well, can we also get a link to that meme, or maybe put it up here on the video? It was, God, I want to try and find it, but it was a mailman talking about mail neutrality. And I'm sorry, I can no longer send this 2-day mail thanks to mail neutrality. Everything takes a month to be delivered.
Makes sense.
Like not 100%, in line with the net neutrality, but it's close.
So that's net neutrality. What else we got?
So that's net neutrality. I guess
we're talking about deregulating things. Let's deregulate some occupational licensing.
Yeah,
Segue.
That is a perfect segue, man. Yeah, occupational licensing. Again, that's Senator Epke is going to be pushing that one forward here in the next session, and a good friend of mine has been doing some work with the Plaid Institute. Also, she is a licensed massage therapist. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying the word massage, but licensed therapist in Omaha, and has been working with them about the various state licenses and testings and fees that you've got to pay to be a massage therapist, like classroom hours of 700 hours worth of classroom work in order to be one. It's like, do you really need that much? There's all these different other things that they've got to be licensed for, take additional class time, pay additional money to the state. That's just one thing here. And honestly, this is one thing I'm hoping that goes far, and one thing that the governor is supposedly on board with. However,
he's having his puppet talk about it quite a bit in that race down there.
Well, it's funny how he tries to say that he's for all of this, but doesn't want to say Epke's name at all, even though she's the one that's introducing this legislation. It's almost like the governor doesn't like her or libertarians at all. But that can't be, right? He's not petty, is he?
He's the governor of all Nebraska, Mike. He loves us all as though we are his wayward children who will someday come back to the fold of Ricketts-style GOP politics.
Oh, okay, good. So as long as he's got our best interest at heart, then I feel much.
He
more
knows our best interest better than we do, Mike. Just accept Governor Ricketts into your life.
You mean
and embrace him in your heart.
So it's like that. It's like that time when he told us that marijuana was bad coming from Colorado. We can't bring in illegal drugs into the state, and then secretly worked with India to bring in illegal drugs to kill people.
Mm.
You remember that about the death penalty stuff?
Yep. So was it? I think Ohio botched another death. What's the word I'm looking for? They tried to kill someone and they botched it.
I didn't see that.
The lethal injection went wrong.
Oh, geez.
So you have to imagine that. I didn't actually hear if the guy lived or not, or if he died, but it was super painful, or if he lived. Which there's going to be this segment of people who are like, well, if he was on death row, he probably did something terrible, so I don't care. I have a problem, a moral problem deep in my core about people who think that torture is okay for bad people. If you are willing to torture someone who you think is bad, I don't trust your standard of bad.
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately, look, I'm not saying that the people in jail or the people on death row are good people. I mean, there should be a justice system set up to provide, justice and retribution. But from a legislative and from a moral standpoint, I can't. I think if you aren't personally in danger and you're administering the drugs or something to kill another person, that's premeditated murder, basically. I don't care if the state's behind it or not. That's just I I cannot get on board with the death penalty. That's not to say that some people should still be around, but it's not my place to take another person's life, regardless, unless my life or someone else's life is in danger. I think that's also keeping with the non-aggression principle too.
So I think I kind of gave this when I was talking to, well, when we had Matt Mowley on.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a case where you have video evidence of some guy walking into this room full of people and just spray and pray, and they catch him alive, I'm okay with that guy. If you have that much evidence, you have 3 angles of video and witnesses who were there and saw it, and which, eyewitness testimony is kind of garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever gone down that rabbit hole, but that was something we learned in criminal justice. Eyewitness testimony is just pure garbage. The human mind does not remember things the way we think it does. But to me, if you got DNA, you've got 3 camera angles, this is the guy, and there's a lot of dead people because of this guy, I'm okay. But I don't trust the state to be able to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that scenario is never going to happen. That dude's going to get shot on sight, as well he should.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. I mean, we're talking about a scenario where it would make sense, but the scenario where it never makes sense is for the state to do that. Have somebody sit in a cell for 5 or 10 years and say, okay, now we're going to finally kill them.
Anyway,
yeah,
we're way off topic again. We went down the rickets rabbit hole. Back to licensing.
Did, yeah. and I mean, it's kind of funny because it's, you'd already talked with Matt about that a lot, and maybe that's definitely in a proper use of the word funny, but it's something that I think we're passionate about. And what is a positive aspect about that is we're passionate about it, but we've also got facts and interviews and all sorts of data to back up why our personal convictions match up with what should be out there. That's not to say that, some of the people on the other side don't, but Matt can definitely attest to it. I mean, there's a lot of people that were pro-death penalty that just said, well, that's what justice is, and that's all they left it at. They didn't open up to some of the other information out there.
So I can hold on to some opinions pretty hard, and later on, like, oh, this is wrong. I need to change my opinion on things. I can like anyone, I can hold on to things, but I don't understand people who just can't be moved on a topic.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I'm about to cross a line here. If you cannot be over time reasoned out of a position that is clearly like you have a set of principles and that position is outside of that set of principles, but you just don't want to hear it, that speaks to low intelligence to me. Because high intelligence people are more flexible than that. So that is typically the mark of when I know I'm dealing with someone who just isn't very smart.
Yeah.
And that's, you can, not you, but the proverbial you out there, if you want to call me names and think that I'm a terrible person for saying that, that's great. But I sometimes grow a little tired of being nice to dumb people. And I'm the guy that is here preaching niceness and gentle rhetoric and bringing people along slowly because that's how humans work.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you're just dealing with idiots, you just have to realize that you're dealing with idiots and stop wasting your time.
Yeah, and to kind of speak to that before getting back into the occupational licensing, I'm gonna try and steer the train back onto our track every so often.
I just tried that a minute ago.
I've been on both sides of the debate when it comes to net neutrality. Like,
Same.
early on, I was thinking, yeah, net neutrality makes a crap load of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I got into it, regardless of being libertarian or not, the more I got into it, the more it just made sense not to do that. And I was like, oh well, we prior to the legislation, we really didn't have much of an issue. So I don't see what the big deal is. But getting back into this occupational licensing stuff here, did you know that you have to have a license to be a livestock auctioneer? The application for auction, livestock auction market. I'm just looking at some of the business licensing right now.
And we'll have the link for this for Nebraska specifically. And I'll try to remember to put the link in the thumbnail for all the places that this is going to be up.
Yeah.
If you're one of the, I'm not even going to try to say it out loud. It's a long website.
Yeah, it was something Ben and I had talked about last year when this bill first kind of came up with Senator Epke, but it definitely bears repeating and going back to the Nebraska.gov site and taking a look at everything that's there. Because one of my favorite examples was the hair braiding, and that's no longer something that you need a license for. So I've got to find something else to replace it as one of the dumbest licenses out there.
I mean, is anything to do with hair at all? Like, it's hair. Who cares?
I think there was something having to do with horses, like either a horse
hair
breeder or a
braiding.
horse seller.
Okay, so I don't know about Nebraska, but one of the big things in California was there's not that many people that know how to shoe a horse, and there was a guy that was teaching people how to do it. Like he had this course set up, and you could go there and learn, but it wasn't accredited, and they weren't licensed, so California shut them down. And it was a big thing in libertarian circles for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Ben had mentioned something about that. The horseshoeing. That's my new one now. I was trying to remember what it was. That's my new dumb thing. Like, why?
Is that a thing in Nebraska too?
No, it's not. Not that I'm finding. Although it might be. I don't know. I don't want to look through that whole list of 200 different licenses and figure that one out. But say if you're trying to start a small business in the state, and it happens to be one of those 200 occupations, well, you've got to pay. You've got to pay, and you've got to take additional classwork and fill out a lot of additional forms, or some of those, just fill out the form and pay $50. Why? Just so the state gets their money. That's really it.
Nail technology. You must be licensed if you attach, shape, or adjust artificial nails using acrylic, resin, fabric, or gel application systems. So thank you, government, for saving me from all those Koreans who were setting up shops and malls. Although it might not be Koreans around here, it's Koreans around the army bases, so that's kind of what I'm used to. Koreans do such good work. Look, I'm going to positively stereotype Korean people. If you need dry cleaning or you need nail work done, you cannot get better than Koreans. You can call me racist for saying that. I don't care. They do good work.
I'm not going to call you racist. I think that's just an observation on the majority of businesses like that you say, hey, this person does good work. Oh, it's owned by a Korean individual. Okay, well.
Also, if you need patches sewn on your uniform, typically Koreans.
I don't know what to go with that.
Just saying. It's because when guys go to Korea for deployment, they like 25% of them come back married. And then she brings her family who starts a business because they're entrepreneurial as all get out, apparently. And they come over here and start a business doing what they did back home for a million times better, like, life quality, and everyone wins. God, the free market's beautiful.
Speaking of Korean, did you see that video that was kind of circulating this week about the North Korean defector?
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it, and like I'm afraid to go watch it because I hate to see people suffer, and watching some guy get shot a bunch might trigger me a little bit. But I do need to see it.
Show him get shot. At least the one that I had was edited, but it showed the South Koreans, crawling out to pull him to safety, basically. But that's not the type of thing that people don't flee good, countries to go to bad ones. That's people aren't fleeing capitalist South Korea to defect to North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't read you sometimes, man. Your face, you're just giving me this look like, oh my God.
I'm reading up on things that we're talking about so that I can give more and more. Or I'm watching Eric July play MLB 17, the show. Or I'm doing both because I have multiple monitors and I can do that.
Multitasking.
Yep.
Yeah, you and I doing this, man. We are a little bit Joe Rogan-esque.
I like it. I think it's a nice change of pace. I don't want to stop doing what I do with Nathan because he definitely keeps me on track and that makes for a good podcast. But I like we should do this more often.
That's why I want to get the four of us together and do a hostful episode. Yeah, it's fun though, man. I've been enjoying this podcast. It was sad I missed that one with Ben last week. It would have been a good one talking about guns again.
I just ripped a sleeve. That sucks.
You need that sewn?
I mean,
you should go to one of those.
You can't sew a magic sleeve.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about like a sleeve of something that.
No, so like one of my nervous things, or not nervous, but like it helps me focus, is to shuffle a magic deck. So I have several by my computer.
Oh.
So a lot of times people might see me like moving my shoulders. I don't think anyone's caught on until now I'm talking about it. But I'm shuffling. It helps me stay on task.
I was going to say you solved your own problem though, when just a few minutes ago talking about where you can go to get great patchwork done and dry cleaners and whatnot. It's like, hey, if you ripped your sleeve, man, just you already know the answer to that.
I'd have to go near off it because I'm pretty sure there's not like there's Korean, or I think they're Vietnamese. I mean, I suppose it'd be about the same, but
I haven't been to a dry cleaner in a while.
Well, here we have like the nail salon people are, what are they? I mean, it doesn't matter, but the inquisitive mind wonders. I'm probably completely wrong and they're like Filipino, like whatever.
I don't know. What do I know, man? I'm mostly Italian. We're great at plumbing and mafia. That's it.
It's me.
And sometimes I wish my name was Mario. That would have been fun.
Mario Knievel?
Yeah. I'll start calling my brother Luigi. See if that bothers him at all.
Are you telling him that he's player 2?
He's definitely player 2.
Really rub it in and call him Green Mario.
Look, man, you're not player 2 in your own life. So, no, of course he's going to be player 2 if I'm going to be Mario here. Oh.
See, I'm Scottish, so that just means that I fight things. Really makes being a libertarian kind of a struggle racially.
I could understand that. Man, I'm just looking at some of these other licenses. Yeah, that's going to be good to throw out there just to rehash so that people can take a look, because some of this stuff's changed from when I took a look at it
The
last time.
hell is... What is a genetic counselor?
I don't know. I don't know half. Look, I'm not making personal judgments against what these actual careers are. I'm just simply saying, why does the state feel like they're in a position to judge who's good at it and who, is authorized? It's not even a judgment on who's good and who's bad. It's just who's paid their royal duties to be able to practice, who's satisfied the crown. It's ridiculous. By the way, I've got to get my car relicensed this month, and so I'm also just a little bit salty because of that.
You got to pay to... I can't go down that rabbit hole without just getting angry.
Yeah. Taxation is theft, man.
There's a lot of theft going on. So, since we're here, we're talking about taxation. What do you think the chances of us getting any kind of tax reform out of these Republicans are?
Anything worthwhile? I don't.
Do you think any of the bills that have been proposed are, like, none of them are good, but are they good relatively?
I like the idea of, cutting out a lot of the tax brackets. I like the idea of simplifying it a bit. I think it's utterly ridiculous to try and talk about cutting taxes anywhere if you're not going to cut spending.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not going to cut spending reasonably. Any of these tax plans are going to solve the problem of taxes in the same way Obamacare solved the problem of healthcare in this country.
I like the idea of them cutting that. Like, so here's where I get pooped on. What bugs me, I really want to see the corporate tax rate drop. And most people are going to be like, you just want those big corporations to get more money. Or I want my brother's business, which is incorporated, because why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
He owns a cleaning business in Tennessee. And if his corporate tax rate gets cut in half, that means he takes on 3 new accounts and hires a new employee.
Yeah.
And then there's someone in Tennessee who's going to be making above minimum wage by a couple bucks. Like, he doesn't, like, it's a cleaning job. You don't get paid great, but it's if for a secondary income, it's good for, like, I would have Elfie do it.
Well, that makes sense. Just doing away entirely with the estate tax. Look, I don't care what high limits they set on it. If your family has worked to save money, sorry, I don't care if you're worth 50 million and, oh, well, why do you want to protect the estate tax for somebody that's worth that much? I don't care.
It's a principle.
Yeah. Why do you have right to that money? You don't. I don't know. Yeah, I do away with as many taxes as possible. Definitely do away with the income tax, but until you cut spending and you find ways to, start moving individuals to look at, different avenues here, you're not going to solve anything. You're just going to cut taxes for a few years, and you're going to have more debt, and you're going to have people say, well, see, cutting taxes didn't work for anything.
So what happens to the national debt? That's what happens when you make me podcast this late. What happens to the national debt if people just stop using the dollar? Like, what if cryptocurrencies become that powerful that most fiat currencies just stop existing? Then what?
I imagine they find a way to regulate it. But remember, man, I remember when the debt used to be a huge thing, like a huge issue for everybody.
I
When it
remember.
was like at 4 trillion, and they were saying, "Well, man, kid, when it gets to this percentage of GDP, just you wait and just see what's going to happen." And it's like now you've got Republicans, prominent Republicans in the state, saying that the debt doesn't matter anymore as we've crossed 20.5 trillion.
Yeah.
That blows my mind still. They're like, well, that's what the dollar's based off of, and so if we do away with our debt, then our dollar's worthless, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, look, man, you used to be fiscally responsible. What the hell happened? Sorry, I'm pulling the Nathan rule here and going off on a rant for a moment.
All right, so we've been at this for about an hour.
Yeah,
What's going on the next couple of weeks for you? Any in the state? What can we
steering
plug?
the train back to the track. What's going on for me? Okay, not a whole lot. I think we're all just kind of going to try and do what we can over the next week to give to Senator Epke's campaign. Just trying to wrap up stuff for the year. I mean, we've got a toy drive. No, wait, what? We're actually adopting children, not like really adopting, but those Christmas trees where you take stuff off and you adopt. So the Sarpy County Libertarian Party is doing that. We've got about 6 kids that we're adopting, so we're getting toys, socks,
Awesome.
stuff like that. Nathan and I, we were looking at adopting a park, much like what Lancaster County's done, but that's a 2-year commitment. I think we'll make our decision here in the next month.
So, how many people?
And then school board.
Oh, is there an announcement?
What? Oh, no. I was just saying PTA meetings and school board meetings, and then we'll see what happens in January or February.
Okay. So one of the things I look forward to about moving, especially if I can get into Sarpy, is I feel like, judging by what I see on Facebook and stuff from your group, Lancaster is a little bit bigger than you are, people-wise, volunteer-wise, and having Elfie and I there would help you start to do some of the same things that they do.
Mm-hmm. Very, very much so.
So, in Dodge, it's us. I might be able to drag one of my friends along to do something. So I will willingly admit I have failed as a county chair. It is just not where my strength is. This is more my speed. But we'd look
forward to you joining.
Hopefully. I want that hot tub so bad. Like, if I build a house, when I finally move to Tennessee and we build our house down there, it will have probably like a 4-person hot tub for the main tub in the master bath, just because I want to have a lot of room. I'm a fat guy. I need my space. I'm not going to have 4 people in there. I'll be lucky. The fiance will be lucky if I even let her in there. So, I got her addicted to Zelda this week.
Good man.
Yeah. It's like, babe, I would like to introduce you to my first love. Her name is Zelda. Have fun.
Nice.
But yep, Senator Ebke's money bomb. Give to it. I make this plug every week about how important this is. I don't feel like I need to make it. You should know. Put your money where your mouth is. All you keyboard warriors out there who are having your debate about minarchism and anarchism, maybe try to move us in that direction with a couple bucks.
Please. You know what? We'll be able to have this discussion even more so if we continue to have libertarians elected and reelected. That's I don't know. That's my pitch. Just give what you can to Senator Epke, and if you can't, make sure that you're able to give of your time, starting it back up in January. So, We all need.
And we have two. I know of two school board candidates that will be announcing soon. So if you're on the east end of the state, where they're both at, there's going to be some opportunities to work out there too. School boards
really,
are what?
I hear they're really good people.
Well, the one in Omaha is at least.
Yeah. There's another guy that's just a total douche.
But a school board race is only a couple thousand realistically to win, right? Like, obviously, you got to do the legwork in the ground game, but we don't have to fight Pete Ricketts for school board, hopefully. It might get to that point at this rate, though.
How much would that suck?
How great is it going to feel to beat him?
It's gonna. That's the other thing. Even if you don't like Pete Ricketts, just make that the reason you give to Senator Epke.
Look, the thing is, we're not getting Pete Ricketts out of that governor spot. If this is Nebraska, that dude is loaded. Daddy's got powerful friends. That just isn't happening.
If you want to make it difficult for Ricketts for the next 4 years, man, if you just want to be like, oh, I wish there was somebody other than Ernie Chambers who I can not stand 75% of the time. There was somebody else in there that stood for my values that could give Pete Ricketts.
Even if your values are only to annoy Pete Ricketts.
And that's fine. That is fine. We will take that.
I ain't proud.
Oh, man. Well, hey, it's getting pretty late. We've been sorry to keep you up.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're up. You're the old man.
Look, I
had to get one in. I had to get one in.
I know. This is some of the only times where I get me time when everyone else is sleeping.
Oh yeah, everyone's asleep there. We will probably stay up for another hour playing Zelda because she's playing A Link Between Worlds on my DS, and I'm finally getting to play Breath of the Wild. We got a Switch a couple weeks ago. That game is beautiful. It's I suck at it. I'm not good at video games anymore. I miss when I was one of the best tanks on my server in WoW, but those days are long behind me.
Wow, you're such a nerd. World of Warcraft. All
right, so have a great week, whenever I get this out.
And end it on that. Hey, it's been fun talking with you. I like this. Let's at
least monthly we should do this.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, you have a good night, man.
You too.
Bye.